What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. And today, special guest Lee Judge is in the building. How are you, bruv?
Oh, I'm good, thank you, Curtis. Brilliant. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Listen, it's power to the people and all that right now, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Can you believe it, eh? Can you believe it?
Can you believe it, man? Listen, obviously we're going to get into the whole story and everything, but obviously Friday, 6 p.m., a protest against Stan Kroenke. What are your thoughts on that? It feels like it's the right time for the fans to really go for him, I feel.
Yeah, well, listen, whatever you want to look at it and what's happened in the last few days, what it done is that Stan Kroenke and his cronies showed their hand. They showed you what they care about. I don't care about Arsenal Football Club. They don't care about the fans. He cares about his money, and we all knew that anyway. But at this moment in time, he's shown it. You know, I think that you could always say, well, he's bought part, he's done this. There's always been a few little doubts here and there. Not now. Yeah. Shown exactly his colours, and we've all known. And this is a great time now to protest about him. You know, it will definitely get publicity because of what we see yesterday with Chelsea, and on the back of it, I think that listen, I think there's no. Let's be honest about this. Manchester City and Chelsea pulled out straight away because they don't really, you know, they're financially well backed. Yeah, it didn't really bother them. They was probably being hoodwinked in it. In some ways, I have to turn around and say that Arsenal couldn't say no. Let's be honest, because otherwise we'd have been left behind. But ultimately, it is about money and him making money. Now, how I look at it is, he was keen to jump into this because it's guaranteed that he's not going to spend no money. But he could actually get into the Champions League if he wanted to by investing. But he chooses not to. So it was a cheap way of getting in there and earning money. And at the end of it, listen, we've got a great chance of still getting into Europe via the Europa League. But he didn't really care about that, did he? You know, basically, we could have been kicked out of it. Like, you know, I mean, if it could have been, you know, we don't know. He didn't care because what was more important to him was not winning the Europa League or getting a trophy. It was more important about the money that comes with it. And for me, I don't want an owner like that. I want an owner that cares. I don't care if an owner comes in and hasn't got the money to spend, but feels my pain at the end of it. Like, you know what I mean? When we'll do everything that he possibly can to try and make Arsenal successful. Now, that doesn't mean to say by chucking money in it and all that. Like, it could be like going down the route of youth, but with a heart and soul, he's an Arsenal man, you know, wants success for Arsenal. This man at the moment doesn't care whether Arsenal win, lose or draw. All he cares about is how much money he's earning out of it, and which we've known anyway. He's shown his hand. Thank you very much. Hopefully, all of this is a blessing in disguise, and it will be an opportunity to get him out.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people in the comments there asking if we're going. I mean, I'm going to be there. Yourself, are you going to be there?
Yeah, I will be going. Like, yes. Obviously, like the studios is right close to the Emirates anyway, so. You know, before the game, we'll be up there. What time, I don't know, but definitely be up there before 6, and we'll be staying there till after anyway. Like, you know, so yeah.
I mean, one thing I've felt, and I don't know if it was like this, you know, years and years ago, because obviously you're a little bit older than me, but since like Wenger was kind of pushed out and things like that, it seems like there's been a real divide in the Arsenal fan base. Like Wenger in, Wenger out, and then it was Emery, kind of Mesut Ozil. Now it's Arteta. We're always split. We're always arguing, and I really hope this is the thing that glues us back together as a fan base, because I think all fans can see that this guy is in the wrong, this owner. So, did you always feel like it was like that amongst the fans?
Yeah, listen, I still feel that there's people out there with their own agendas and whatever, and I get that, you know what I mean? You're always going to have that. But ultimately, you know, it wasn't about Arsenal Football Club. It wasn't. What I think has been the most powerful thing about this is, and this is what I think, the owners of these football clubs thought Arsenal, Spurs fans weren't going to complain about it, like, you know, or we're on the gravy train.
Yeah,
we expect a backlash from West Ham fans, Everton fans, and whatever. But ultimately, it was the fans as well of the clubs that were guaranteed this money knew it wasn't right. So it wasn't right for football.
Yeah.
Nothing else, no ulterior motive from my point of view. I just want what's fair for football because it's the game that I fell in love with. The game now is not what I fell in love with. It was many, many years ago. But ultimately, it's football. And what I like about football is the competition. You know, going to good grounds and winning, going to even when I was playing, when you're playing against the big boys, playing in the FA Cup, you go to one of the big boys and play. It was all part of it, and it's not a game just for the big fish.
Yeah,
it's all about anybody. You know what I mean? Everybody's equal. Everybody's got a right to play football, and it was just for me more about that than whatever. And what I think has won. It's not. The fans have won, not the other clubs have won, or what UEFA or the FA and that. Football has won because football is about being honest. It's about working hard. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, anybody can get to the top if they're good enough.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. You know what I mean? When you're a kid, you've got an opportunity as a kid to become a professional footballer. There's no closed way in, you know, for instance, you know, when I was growing up as a kid, tennis was very, very hard to get into and cricket to a certain degree. Football, you was always welcomed wherever. And I think that's the key.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I just wanted to ask you a little bit because yesterday I got a little bit of stick on here because I was asked if we went into this league, would I have continued to watch Arsenal? And I said, look, I'm going to be honest, I would have. Whether that makes me a bit hypocritical or not, I didn't agree with it. But then I looked at it like, well, when Sky came in, no one agreed with Sky, but 90% of people pay for Sky now. You know, we don't agree with everything that we do. But do you feel like they stopped this because of the fans? Because I'm kind of looking at it going, the 6 biggest clubs in England, they've probably been planning this for years. They sign contracts, they put out statements. They get a bit of a backlash from the fans, and within 48 hours, they all jump out. I mean, do you think it was a plan to get more money out of UEFA, or what? How do you think it came about?
Well, no. Listen, this is what it's down to. You can let's break it down and go on about Sky and BT and the Premier League. You know, let's be honest. The 6 in the Premier League. And I include Arsenal in that. Well, went to the Premier League, virtually guaranteed. You know, there's never going to be relegated. You know, you can't guarantee it, but as virtually as much as you can. Arsenal, Spurs, Manchester United, Liverpool. They're never going to get relegated. Chelsea and Manchester City are never going to get relegated with the financial backing that they've got. They're never going to get relegated. So that's the case. Yeah. But 4 doesn't go into 6. You know what I mean? So the Champions League, they can't guarantee that. You cannot guarantee being in the Champions League. Arsenal and Spurs, for instance, are out of the Champions League at this moment in time. And we've got a chance in the Europa League, but via the league, we haven't got a chance. And Liverpool this season may or may not get there. We don't know. And that is what they can't be guaranteed the income then of what the Champions League brings. So that's why they've gone and done what they've had to do. Yeah. Now, if you know, as a fan, you know, I still say that would you have wanted to go? Like you know, it's very listen. This is where they were very, very clever what they've done. It's all right. We've been not been able to go and watch our team for over a year now.
Yeah.
Right. So you know you get desperately close to getting to see your team again, and all of a sudden, like, you know, they put this in there. Oh, you're not going to go and whatever. And I honestly would, from my point of view, I would have probably gone, but I would pick and choose my games so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it would have made the Premier League weaker. There's no two ways about that, you know, and things like that. And I still want to go to Everton away, Newcastle away, those sort of games, you know. So I think that's where it was. They didn't. I don't think the clubs thought that they would get the resistance that they got, and they want to guarantee money, which I understand to a certain degree. You know, I mean, let's be honest. You know what I mean? Can you condemn Arsenal for going into it? It's like asking, let's be honest. Arsenal over the last few years, you know what I mean? An elite club. I don't think so. I don't think we've acted like an elite club for a very, very long time. But we was once an elite club. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah.
So if they're going to ask us to come into it, we're not like Real Madrid. Like Real Madrid, if Real Madrid say no straight away, that's a massive clout. It's not going to be easy to do. If Arsenal say no, I don't think it's a massive clout. You know what I mean? Like, because you go, all right, we're asking if Aston Villa want to come in. And our Spurs have got even in it. Is ridiculous. But at the moment, so you can't turn around and say at Spurs as a club neither, oh, we're not going to go into it, because it's like, hold on a minute, and it's like anything. If you're asked to do, like, I'm not being horrible. If someone says to you, oh, look, come and play football for the next 10 years, I'm going to guarantee you so and so money, it's very hard to turn down. So I get that Arsenal didn't want to get to, and I agree with what they've actually said that, and they have come out and said, we couldn't really say no and be left behind. The fact of the matter is, Arsenal are not in a position where they could have said no. I think Liverpool and Manchester United could have, but chose not to. You know what I mean? But Arsenal and Spurs, certainly Spurs, were in no position to say no.
No, I mean, it was effectively like a golden ticket for Arsenal, wasn't it? Because,
exactly.
when are we going to play Barcelona again? I mean, unless we win that Europa League. But what I really think about this is, I think fans need to not sit there and think, all right, we've won and that's the end of it. I think we have to go for Kroenke. I think fans have to start saying, we shouldn't be paying this much money to watch football inside a stadium. We shouldn't be paying this much to watch Sky TV and BT Sport. I think they've got to keep going with all of it and make, because UEFA are saying now, oh, we're the good guys, we've won. But let's be honest, there is no good guys in this. They're just the lesser of the two evils, if you like, because we know that UEFA is corrupt as anybody.
Curtis, let's get something straight, right? Let's get something straight. Sky, give all the platform they wanted to Gary Neville because it suited their own game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. Even though I agree with what Gary Neville was saying, he had a platform which Sky gave him. Sky gave him that platform for the simple fact is that it was beneficial to them. Like, I didn't hear Gary Neville coming out and saying and being that adamant about it when Sky were saying, "Oh, you've got to pay £15 for a game during a pandemic when no one's got no money." I didn't hear him coming out and voicing his opinion as much as strongly as about that. Like, so let's not go too mad about Gary Neville and all that. Like, he had a platform and what he said. Now the fans definitely had a voice and definitely made their feelings known and all that. But again, that wasn't, I don't think, the biggest factor of all. I think the biggest factor was probably players, because players were not going to be in for it neither. Like, and whatever I say about players, and not all of them, but most of them were fans before they become players. Simple as that. So they understand exactly the way we think, but they had a lot of clout in that. Now, Sky, for instance, they've come right. This is going to be damning for them, because they've come out and Gary Neville on their high horse about things have been like what it is. So when the next deal comes and they want you to bump up this and bump up that, hold on a minute. You know what I mean? Like, this is a company that took TV away from terrestrial telly for their own gain. So they ain't no shining light or any shape or form. So don't think that they're not. They're giving away fans, a 12 o'clock kickoff or 8 o'clock kickoff in Manchester when you can't get home, like, you know what I mean, for money. So don't like Gary Neville getting on his high horse about fans, right? The next time that Manchester United, Arsenal have to go to Manchester on a Monday night for financial gain, where is it for the fans on a Monday night? It's nothing, you know what I mean? We have to stay up there or come home or whatever, like, you know what I mean? So don't for ever 1 minute turn around and go about Gary Neville. Gary Neville was given a platform to suit Sky as well as himself. Not as well as himself, but like for the thing. So I as much as it was great what he was saying, but like, you know, they were under pressure, because if that did happen, Sky were going to be in meltdown. The Premier League was never going to be what it's going to be. So at the end of the day, they're like this now, Sky. Well done, Gary. Well done, everything like that. But ultimately, the fans now have had enough.
Yeah.
And whatever way you look at this now, right, the fans, all of a sudden, we have got a lot of power. And the reason being is because it didn't, you know, fans this, fans that. Now the fans have not been in the stadium. Oh, we're losing this money, we're losing that money. So all of a sudden, the fans now are important, because there is a worth.
Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean? And the fans now have got to rebel and say, like, you know what I mean? I tell you what, we're not going to Manchester on a Monday night. We're not going to play Sunday at 12 o'clock or play at 7:30 on a Saturday night no more. Like, you know what I mean? These are the things that could come out of it and could be beneficial to the fan, the fan. Not what's beneficial to Sky and all that. Like, so Sky, at the end of the day, have done fantastically well. But also now, you know what I mean, they've shown their hand as well. They've shown their hand.
100%. Deep Ty, thank you very much for becoming a member on the channel. Much appreciated, bro. Thank you for your support. And Raul as well, thank you very much for becoming a member. I wanted to speak about, obviously, a few stories that came out yesterday. One of them was that apparently UEFA paid the English clubs significant amounts of money to drop out of this Super League. Now, it hasn't been confirmed, but a lot of people were saying that. There's also talk of fines going off now as well. Now, I know, obviously, you're a fan of Arsenal like myself, and we're one of the 6 clubs. Do you think these clubs deserve to be fined for what they tried to do?
Well, listen, they can fine whatever, like, but hold on a minute. Who are you fining? If you're going to fine the club, you're punishing the fan who's just supported your supported UEFA and the FA and whatever, like, you know what I mean? Now, at the end of the day, so if you're going to fine, say for instance, we're going to fine Arsenal £50 million. Well, that's a centre half for us for next season. Yeah. You know, so you know, who are you actually? And I think that's why the Liverpool owners come out and say it's all down to me today, because he knows.
Yeah,
he knows. You know what I mean? Like, deduct points. Yeah, all right. Who's that going to affect? Who's that going to affect? Yeah, it's going to affect the owner, but ultimately the fans, us fans, me, you, and whoever goes to that have done nothing wrong here. Why do we deserve to be punished? You know, they were talking about kicking us out of the Europa League or kicking the teams out of Europe. Well, all right, okay, go and do that then. Does that punish Liverpool and Spurs, who are already out of the competition?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's, you know, and I always say this, like, you know what I mean, like, you know, if they deduct Arsenal 20 points, deduct Man United 20 points, deduct them, right? That's fine. But ultimately, that means we've got no European football next season through no choice of our own. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think that that's a fair thing to do. What they should be doing is saying to these owners that, you know, you're not welcome no more. I don't want to see Stan Kroenke and you know, the Liverpool. Listen, the Liverpool owner today has come out and said sorry. Whether you believe him or whether you don't, has said that he's done wrong. Fair play to him. But ultimately, like Atletico Madrid have come out today and said, "Oh, after thinking about it, we feel it's not fair for football, you know, to have no competitive." They didn't think of that 2 days ago when they signed the thing. No. You know what I mean? It's all about money and all that, like, you know what I mean? So I don't think no points should be deducted. You know what I mean? No. Like, and that, because I don't think it's you're punishing fans and players, and the manager for the greediness of their owners, and the greediness of their owners is because they own the club. Now, ultimately, we should never have sold the club to Kroenke in the first place. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. You know what I mean? Like, we know that Manchester United, of the biggest club in England, have been protesting from their owners for a very, very long while. Yeah. And they know exactly what their owners are. And Gary Neville, again, knew exactly what their owners were when he was playing for them.
Yeah.
Didn't come out and say nothing then, did he? Because why? Because it benefited him. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, as a player. But he can come out and say what he is now because he's a fan, and I've got no problem with that. But ultimately, you cannot punish these players. Marcus Rashford, for instance, come out straight away and said it's not right. So is that fair now that he's not allowed to play Champions League football because he's got a greedy owner? I don't think so.
No, I totally agree with you on that. Over 1,300 of you in the chat. Appreciate all the comments and super chats. I will highlight them all as well. Usually I read them out, but when I got a guest on, I don't want to interrupt him too much. I just wanted to show you this picture here that I don't know if you can see this, but it was a picture of it showing the values of all the clubs, the big 6 English clubs. What I found really interesting with this is that they're saying that Chelsea and Manchester City are now worth more than Arsenal, despite Arsenal effectively being a bigger club than those 2 clubs. So Arsenal is devaluing under Stan Kroenke, isn't it, under his ownership and with the lack of success.
Oh, of course, you know what I mean, and that's what happens. But I think it's still worth over 2 billion if I can see that right. Like,
2.1 billion it says for Arsenal.
Not bad, is it? Like, you know what I mean?
It's not bad, no.
You know, from that point of view. And listen, I'd rather be owning Arsenal than Chelsea and Manchester City. You know, the fact is that those two teams have come in. Abramovich got Chelsea on the cheap as far when you look at what they're worth now, and Manchester City. But what I will say about those 2 clubs is look at the investment that they've had through their owners, and look at them now, and look at their worth. You know, so they've invested, and Abramovich has put a lot of money into Chelsea, but if he was to sell today, he would still have made a fortune despite investing. Yeah. And you look at Kroenke, who's invested nothing, it's still 2 billion worth all that money. If he'd invested, say, half of what Abramovich has done, maybe Arsenal now will be worth 3 billion. Yeah. But there you go, you know what I mean? But ultimately, and this is the thing about it, you know what I mean? People are going, was it great for Arsenal? He hasn't spent no money trying to get to the big money. All of a sudden, he's been given the big money. There was no guarantee that, you know what I mean, that he'd have spent, you know what I mean, because he'd have looked at it and thought, well, if we come bottom, it don't matter. Yeah. I'll still get me billions. You know, so, you know, don't for 1 minute think that Arsenal were in this competition to win it. Yeah, it's true. He wasn't trying. He's actually said that publicly, and he didn't buy Arsenal to win trophies. No, he's not going to you know what I mean? Like, you know, we have a fantastic opportunity of getting into the Champions League via the Europa League. Yeah. Come January, he'd done a couple of loan signings. If he really wanted it, like an Arsenal fan, he could have made a couple of real big signings and made sure that they had a very, very good chance of winning it. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, you remember Man United last January, you know, they spent 55 million on Bruno and he transformed their team when he joined, really. So, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. Exactly. Zach, there's a link in the description for anyone if you want to become a member, Zach. Appreciate that. Over nearly 1,500 of you in here. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. The judge is in here. Hopefully you'll have your channel soon as well. We're waiting for that, you know. Yeah, well, do you know what? We've got everything sorted out. We've you know, like, you know what it's like setting it all up and getting all like the pictures and everything like that. And then we thought, right, well, we have it. When we're going to release, what date we're going to go for, and all this is happening. So there's no way we don't really want to go on a negative time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's a very, very difficult time of whatever. So what we're going to do is we're going to release all the sort of stuff and then start getting subscribers, and then like once we've done it, we go from there. But it is a thing where I don't really want to start off on a negative, like, you know. So I want it to be a positive. You know, like loads of things going to be done, and it's not just about Arsenal. It's going to be like we've got the Premier League talking about that. Kevin is going to be very much part of it as well. I've got a few girls coming on, so we'll have a girls' night in sort of thing, like, you know. So there's lots of things that we've got going and getting sorted. And I'll tell you what, as you probably well know, it's not as easy as what you think it is. Just getting everything lined up, like, you know. So.
No, it's not. But I'm sure you'll be very successful, mate.
Thank you very much, sir.
Curtis's neighbour said, Curtis, are you going to live stream the protest? I mean, I'll try and get a bit of footage down there, but it depends what's going off. It might be going wild down there, you know. But listen, in terms of Kroenke, is this the best opportunity ever for Arsenal fans to try and get him out?
Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. Listen, if I be honest, it's up to him, innit? It doesn't matter how much you protest. If he doesn't want to sell, he's not going to sell. Like, do you know what I mean? And that's the case of it. Like, you know, but ultimately, there's always a tipping point, always a place where you think, you know, I've had enough of this now and whatever. So this could be the perfect opportunity. But what I think that we need to do is bring it to the forefront that we actually, so he realizes what we actually think about him. And that's important, like, you know, and I don't care whoever you are, whether you're Kroenke, Curtis or Lee Judges, if you know you're not liked, that's got to hurt something.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, unless you've got one hell of a thick skin, you know what I mean? Because we all like to be loved and all like to be liked. So if you've got a whole fan base coming out there, without a doubt, look, you see what happened at Chelsea yesterday. It's going to create news. It's going to be on there. So there's an opportunity for Arsenal fans to just voice their opinion, to say exactly what they feel about the man running our football club. Yeah. Running it. That's all you can say. You know what I mean? So it's a perfect opportunity. If you are a fan and you feel like very strongly about don't want Kroenke as the owner, you've got an opportunity on Friday to use your voice. Now, whatever way you look at it, the voice matters, doesn't it? Because look at what it created yesterday. Chelsea doing what Chelsea done yesterday created a massive thing. Massive.
Yeah, it did.
You know, they stopped their coach getting into the ground, Curtis. Their own players. They had to have an ex-player.
I respected that. I like that.
Yeah. They had to get an ex-player to come out and calm it all down. They delayed the kickoff. Yeah. Peacefully as well. Nothing like. So at the end of the day, Arsenal fans can do whatever they like tomorrow on Friday. If they want to delay the kickoff, delay the kickoff. Whatever you want to do, but as long as you do it peacefully like Chelsea did, no problem. And people are saying, oh, what about social distancing and everything like that? Yeah, we'll have to be respectful of that. But ultimately on Sunday, 2 days later, they've got 4,000 fans going in at Wembley. So so it's not that bad, is it? Like, you know what I mean? If we do it properly and be respectful to the fans, protest properly. That's what I would urge, that everybody do everything as best they can. Yeah. Do what Chelsea done yesterday. Chelsea got a lot of praise for that yesterday, and rightly so. So.
I think Zach, thank you very much for becoming a member. You found it in the description. Appreciate that, bro. I think the difference with Arsenal and Chelsea is Chelsea were protesting for the Super League. We're obviously protesting for the owner. And I almost feel like to get Kroenke out of Arsenal, we've almost got to damage Arsenal a little bit, if that makes sense. I think we've got to, let me explain it. Like, I think we've got to make him look at it and think, I don't want nothing to do with it. Like, sponsors might look at it and go, that looks a little bit toxic. Because I believe that Arsene Wenger was pushed out the door because of the fans, leaving seats empty, protesting. I think sponsors would have looked and thought, nah, that doesn't look great right now. So it's almost like we've got to damage the club a little bit to maybe push the owner out. Would you agree with that, or do you think that's a bit over the top?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I would say, like, any protest, anything and all that, like, what, as a fan, I wouldn't want to see anything bad, like, you know, when it turns around and says, "Oh, look at what their fans are doing" and all that. Like, for instance, smashing up the bus like the Liverpool fans done and things like that.
I don't agree with that.
Like that. But I see what you're saying. Dan, listen, if you've got 2,000 fans there on on Friday, singing Kroenke out. You know what I mean? We know what you are, you greedy so and so. We know what you are. We want you out of our club and all that. That is damaging to him and to his organisation and to sponsors and whatever. That will go globally because that will be on Sky because the game's on and everything like that.
Yeah,
fans voicing an opinion, and I think that is a great thing. Yeah, block the bus coming in. You know what I mean? Stand in front of it so that it can't come in. You know what I mean? Anything like that, I ain't got a problem with that. You know. But don't damage it or anything like that. Just stand in front of it and make sure that they don't come, or stand outside the door. I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know, but they're the sort of things that they need to do. Stand across. You know, like if you've got 2,000 fans standing across the entrance of the coach thing like that. That is it. Get the voice known. You know what I mean? Like now, I'm not saying, you know, like to stop the game from going ahead or doing this or doing that, like, you know, but ultimately getting a reaction which will get us the most publicity we can to just say what we think of this manager, like, you know what I mean? And it's true what someone's just saying in the chat. It's not just him and all that. Vinay is another one. Want him gone and all. Want him gone. You know what I mean? Like, you know, heads have got to roll, like, you know, so we don't want people. I want people at this football club that care about Arsenal, not the money. Now, I know that money is important and I get that, but ultimately, Arsenal Football Club has been damaged because of this over the last couple of days. We ain't the classy club we used to be. We've not been the classy club for a while now, Curtis.
No, we haven't. We haven't.
And you know, the club on its whole is not a great place to go. I mean, there's so much in-house fighting between fans over the few years or the last 10 years or whatever. You know, it's all got to stop. And there's a chance now it can, I think we can all come together because I'm pretty sure that 98% of the fan base are all on the same hymn sheet here. And that's what we need. You know what I mean? I think in the past, you know, the Wenger, even with Mikel Arteta, there's a divide, isn't there, of fans? You know what I mean? Now, you know, like our opinions of me and you can be a little bit different about that, but we're not going to get toxic. But there is people that, you know, are toxic about it and all that, like, you know. So, both ways, not just for Arteta in. I'm talking Arteta out as well. You know, but I think ultimately everybody is on the same page for this.
Yeah, I agree. RJ, appreciate you becoming a member, bro. Thank you very much for your support. Big up everyone in the chat. Thank you for all the super chats as well. I will highlight all of them. Daniel said we need to do something to make them take immediate action. Normal protesting won't work. I Am King said we got to target the sponsors as well. They are the ones who can really force Kroenke out. I mean, the thing is, I suppose, even if Kroenke got to a point where he said, you know what, it's not worth the hassle, someone's still got to turn up with £2 billion and take the club off him, which is a big ask. And Dan Gotti, to me, Dan Gotti seems like, is he all talk? Does he do it just for a little bit of attention? I'm not sure how serious he is about buying Arsenal.
Listen, I don't know on that, like, you know what I mean. It's a thing where I don't really like. I don't know what is the best scenario. Is it that you have like two owners, like they've like got a bit more. So like someone's got 10% of it, someone's got 30%. I don't know. I really don't know what's the best way to go. You know, on that. I think that, as I say, I don't know, you know, if you're going to get an owner that's got all that money that's going to be like totally Arsenal supporter, but I'm not sure what's the bit. And you know, and if a new owner comes in, as I said, you know what I mean, I want him to invest, of course I do, but like, you know, it's no good like getting an owner in that's takes all his money by buying a club and then's got nothing left, you know what I mean? So I don't know what is the solution on that. But at this moment in time, Kroenke's got all the power, and hopefully he will sell at a reasonable price. You know what I mean? I don't think the club is in a great position for what he would like. And at the end of the day, he's never going to earn the money he thought he was going to earn out of it now. So maybe this is what I'm saying. This could be a great time for him to go, do you know what? I ain't in love with Arsenal. It is a bit of a whatever. But what messages I'm getting a little bit is that Josh Kroenke is very, very much into Arsenal. Well, if he is, then show it.
Yeah, exactly. Greeny Man TV, thank you for becoming a member as well. Much appreciated. God, it's these Arabanners are waiting in the wings. Well, the thing is, you would think, wouldn't you, that if Arsenal were put up for sale or put on the market, you would think there would be a lot of interest, because we don't require the same level of work that a Manchester City required when they were taken over. We've already got most of the setup there. We need a lot of money really for transfers to improve the team, but everything else, the training ground, the stadium, it's all ready to go.
Yeah, well, listen, the club's in a good position. You look at Chelsea; they had to under Abramovich had to do a lot of work to the ground, to the training ground, and things like that. Everything that Arsenal's done. Now, what I would say is that it is realistically all in good shape. Look at the youth first setup's very good because of the players coming through. It just needs someone that really knows what they're doing and cares about football. Could make that. Arsenal ain't a club that needs major rebuilding of things. You know what I mean? It needs just sound investment. It needs sound backing every year. And listen, Kroenke has put money into this. Let's not get that. Let's get that out there. It's just that because they're clueless, it hasn't been run properly. Get people in there that probably know what they're doing and care about the club. And listen, if someone here would have a fantastic opportunity of taking Arsenal back to where it belongs and should be, but who that is, I don't know.
That's the thing. Jay Muller said, Lee, have you signed the petition for the Tollington Arms? I mean, I hear the Tollington's in a bad way at the moment.
Yeah, I have heard that. You know what I mean? I'm not I don't go down to Tollington that much, but obviously, it's part of the Arsenal history and all that. And of course, I'd sign up to that when I get the opportunity. So hopefully it won't. I don't know how these pubs are surviving at the moment. I have to say,
it must be great. Big up man like Turkish in the chat. Let me know if you're about, mate. Let me know if you're about. Do you know what? Turkish tried to do this protest a few years ago as well, and didn't really get the support at the time. But,
listen, a lot of people don't like to protest, and I get the reasons why. And but listen, Turkish has always had good points about it and everything like that. And I'm going to have to say, has always banged on the drum about Kroenke since I've known him. If I'll be honest, and what he says is absolutely right. But unfortunately, there is a time and a place, and I think that maybe the timing wasn't great on this time. But listen, if there is a protest on Saturday, and it's quite a big protest, he should have a nice little smile on his face.
I'm sure he'll be happy. Pete said him and his missus are coming from Bristol for the protest. I mean, people are travelling from all over for this one.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It is brilliant. Obviously, we got a game. It feels like we haven't played football for weeks. It's been the craziest week ever. Obviously, looking back, we had that game against Fulham, which kind of summed up our season, really, didn't it? That game. Yeah. I mean, first of all, what did you make of that game? And I don't know what you think. I had a problem with the celebration at the end of the game. Now, I kind of understood Eddie Nketiah. He's a young lad. He's having a tough time. It was probably a relief for him to score. But then I'm seeing experienced pros behind him jumping on his shoulders, punching fists. And I'm thinking, go and get the ball out of the net and try and score the winner. What did you make of that celebration at the end of the game?
I think perhaps too much has been made out of it. I think that, I think the best thing about it was Matt Ryan's header. It was unbelievable.
I love that.
I think they're all celebrating that, really, But the fact of the matter is, it was in the 97th minute. I don't think even if they run up and got the ball, I don't think it'd have made too much difference. It was a game, really. If I'll be honest, we should never have lost, draw, let alone lose. They've had one shot, pathetic penalty that is never a penalty in my book, even though it is a penalty by the letter of the law. And as far as Eddie's concerned, Eddie's been left out completely since January, And so he scored, and that's what he's come on there to do. I've got no problem with that, And I think that the bigger picture for me is that, well, two things really. It just shows you that we can't get results back to back because our home form is abysmal. If I'll be honest, we seem to play better away from home. We have a fantastic performance on the Thursday. Don't back it up on the Sunday, which is a little bit annoying. The inconsistency of the team and the club at the moment is unreal. Realistically, what happened on Sunday with this Super League really forgot about the game, and I think that it's been, that covered up a lot of things about the game. No one's really bothered, and I think that also that the Chelsea and Liverpool have dropped points because of it as well, because there was so much going on.
Yeah, it's distracted them.
It distracts you, and I'll be honest, I weren't really looking forward to Friday because of it. You're thinking, it's going to be like protests, this and whatever, and does it really matter? Because if we don't win the game, it didn't matter because we're still going into this Super League and everything. So I think that focus now be a little bit better now going on to Friday. I'm actually looking forward to Friday a little bit better now, and obviously now, and even more so Thursday. But I think that there's a lot of problems at Arsenal still on the pitch. We're playing a midfielder at left back and doing fairly well, by the way. But ultimately, what was the decision of not going with a left back cover when we've we know that our left back at that moment in time was injured anyway, so that's a bit of a worry. Like going into the game now without Lacazette's going to be a big worry.
Yeah, definitely, man. Broad's in the chat. He says, "Smash the likes, people. I'm annoyed. I can't watch the streams. They happen anymore. I had to drop in today. Yeah, I know you're working and that, man. And big up Franny Green as well. Go and check out his channel, Forever Football with Franny Green, ex-pro footballer. He's coming to the protest on Friday. Everyone's joining in, man. It's good to see the energy, and it's good to see everyone moving in the right direction at least.
Well, exactly, because I think that, as I've said before, listen, when Turkish was saying about the protest last time, it's difficult when he's spending money on players and everything like that. But what he's ultimately done at this moment in time is shown his hand. Yeah, and it is the perfect time for Arsenal fans to voice their opinion exactly what they think of this man. And without no fans in the stadium, I think this is the right time to do it as well.
Yeah. Big up Gunner Girl in the chat. Congrats on 10,000 subscribers on your channel as well. Keep up the good work.
Oh, well done.
What do you think people who can't make the protest can do? If you live in a different country but you still want to make your feelings known, what do you think they can do? How can they make it more difficult for the owner?
Well, that's a tough thing to ask. You know what I mean? Because obviously, the likes of us can go down there, can't we, and make our point.
Yeah.
Look, listen, social media is a wonderful thing. It's if used properly. So at the end of the day, hopefully, the supporters around the world who are important to Arsenal Football Club, is let's be honest, and I admire them. If I'll be honest, some of what they have to go through. Watching games. I can tell you this now, it's not easy watching games on telly, is it? I haven't found it easy, I'll be honest. So, and they get up and they, wherever they go and do their, early in the morning or late at night, big up to them and all that. It's through social media, voice your opinion, tag in Arsenal, tell them how you feel. What I mean? I think is very, very important. Yeah. Very important.
How much of an impact? Because I get a lot of banter on my channel because I was talking about merch and things like that. And then the other week I brought that new hoodie that came out. I've seen you in loads of merch this year. Does the merch make a big difference? Like, do you think a lot of that? Because I was reading that, for example, Adidas pay a lot of the money straight to the club, and then they only get a small percentage of the sales back. I mean, should we stop buying merch? I don't know. What's your feeling on that?
Well, listen, it's very, very hard, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? To stop getting that. Like, I'm not saying that I buy all mine, so I'm not going to say a lot on that. Like, you know what I mean? But what I will say is that, listen, I go to the games, and when I go, I never buy a program. I never go in there and buy a beer and things like that. Whether that's right or whether that's wrong, I just feel that that's my little thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Way, yeah.
Yeah, and probably a silly way, if I'll be honest. And if you want to buy stuff, you know, people tell me that it don't affect and whatever. Like, you know, listen, I bought a lot of stuff this year because, not, you know, within lockdown, not going out. You just wash it. You don't have to iron it. You just like wear it.
Yeah.
But it's just so, you know, you go on there and do that. And listen, I get what people say when they say, oh, well, you buy the merchandise and everything. I still go to games, you know what I mean? So what, should I buy merchandise? Should I stop going to games? It's a very, very difficult thing what to do. And listen, if someone says to me, I ain't buying no, and look, I know some of my mates won't buy any of the gear, won't buy it for love or money, like, you know what I mean? So and so that's it. Look, I'm going to be honest. I don't buy none of the gear, like, you know what I mean. I'll get either given to me or it's bought for me, like, you know what I mean, for presents and that. So there you go. So
there you go. Don't blame you. Big up Brandon on the super chat. Anyone who thinks we were the cause of the Super League collapse, go watch John Barnes' interview on TalkSport. However, this has given us an opportunity to get the parasite out, and we must make it count. Yeah, I did listen to that interview, actually. I don't often agree with John Barnes, but he did make sense of it. He was saying basically that, look, it's about money and power rather than the fans, why this Super League has probably collapsed, you know?
Well, listen, I agree with certain things that John Barnes said. I did not catch it all, but some of it I did. Ultimately, if it was... It's a combination of everything. It's not just the power of fans. If the fans hadn't, you know, it's all of them, ultimately, players and whatever. What it has done, though, Curtis, is it's shown that, you know, these clubs, we can walk away and start out our own thing. Ain't the case, is it?
Yeah, it's true.
The case. So, you know, I think at the end of the day, all the big six elite clubs, as they say, have lost a bit of power, have lost a bit of their muscle with this, like, you know. So, listen, I agree with John Barnes. It isn't all to do with fans, right? But ultimately, you know, if it wasn't for the fans, why are all these clubs saying they've got no money?
Yeah,
because
they've had no fans for a year, isn't it?
So what are they moaning about then if they don't think it's something to do with the fans? No fans in grounds up and down the country. All of a sudden, you know, Arsenal have skint. Let's be honest. You know, the reason that the Spanish clubs want all this, like the Real Madrid and Barcelona, because they've got no money. So don't turn around and say, oh well, it's, you know, all of a sudden the fans, because the fans have not been going in now. There's big power there now, like, you know what I mean? And that may be one of the blessings that's come out of it. They could not give a damn about us. And John Barnes probably thinking, just like they owners, the fans don't really matter and all that. All of a sudden now, it does.
Yeah. Turkish going live after me, so make sure you all go over to his channel after, go and support Turkish quality channel as well. All of a sudden, because the last few days I've been sitting here, Lee, thinking, wow, so if we go into this Super League, next Thursday doesn't mean anything because, you know, we go into the Champions League, it don't exist. But now it's a huge game because if this guy doesn't leave the football club, Stan Kroenke, there's a real possibility we won't be in any European competition next year, which means, you know, he's not going to put his hand in his pocket and give us 100 million. So we desperately need to win this game next Thursday and obviously try and win this competition.
Yeah, and we've got a good chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, we've got Villarreal in the semi-final, at home on the second leg. So listen, we've got an opportunity to get to the final. Manchester United or Roma in the final, which is if that is the case, it'd be a great final. So and realistically, we're not going to get Europe any other way. So let's see what we can do. And all of a sudden, I think that 2 days ago, I think no one was really bothered about it, but now again, it's back on, and rightly so. So listen, it's a great opportunity to get to the final, and a great opportunity to get. Not only will it guarantee us European football, the only European football we're going to be getting next season is Champions League football or nothing. So it's as simple as that. So it's massive. It is massive.
Would you rather avoid Man United in the final?
No, if we get in the final, we get in the final. Man United or Roma is going to be tough. But it's a one-off. I think Arsenal can beat anybody on a one-off. Look what they've done in the FA Cup last year. You know what I mean? We beat Manchester City and Chelsea on the way to the final. We've beaten Man United once this season and drawn with them. You know what I mean? That's not the issue. The issue is getting to the final with these 2 legs, because I don't think we're great enough or good enough to do it on a consistent basis. We've got to do it in 2 games. And if you have a look, really, even against Prague, we only done it in 1 game. In the first game, we was awful. So for us to get to the final, we've got to produce 2 performances on the spin. And I'm not so sure Arsenal can do that at this moment in time. So let's see what happens on that. But I'm not really worried about who we get in the final. Let's get there first, and then see who we get.
Does the Unai Emery factor, does that worry you at all, or do you just look at it like doesn't make much difference?
One bit.
No.
Don't bother me one bit. What's it, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, he had his chance and he failed. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, he's got a fantastic record in this competition. Even with us, took us to the final. But ultimately, listen, I think it's 3 years ago today, or is it 3 years ago today? Someone told me it was the Crystal Palace game.
Oh, okay. I can't forget that game.
Is it 3 years or 2 years? I think it could be
2 years.
I think it's 2 years.
That was a disaster, that game.
Yeah, and he had the opportunity that day of getting us into Europe, and he failed. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that will always leave him as a thing. Listen, if he lets Arsenal have 44 shots in the 2 games like he did, like against Watford and all that, like we're bound to score 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so don't say like all about Emery. I don't know where Villarreal are in the league, but the last time I looked, they weren't in the top 4.
No, I think they're 7th, so they're not pulling up trees. Listen, I think Arsenal will beat Villarreal over 2 legs. I've got to be honest. I think we're a better team than them. I've watched them a few times. Don't get me wrong, they're better than Slavia Prague. A lot better, but I think Arsenal, we worry about ourselves more than the opposition. It's what we do.
100%. And also, you don't think you're going to get an easy game in the semi-final of the Europa League, do you? It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're in the latter stages now of Europe. And if I'll be honest, where we've had a little bit of a tougher draw, like Benfica probably in the first, like to get Olympiacos and
Prague and Villarreal.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We've had a little touch. You know what I mean? Look at Man United. Man United have had AC Milan. All right, they've got a tough one there at Roma as well. But like they've had a couple of tough ones along the line. Roma, for instance, have had Ajax. So like realistically, the side that Man United and Roma are on is a lot tougher than the side that we got. It's gone well for us. I'm not going to complain about Villarreal in the semi-final. I remember we had Villarreal in the Champions League semi-final.
Yeah.
What a touch. We could have got Barcelona, but we didn't, So, listen, you're going to have to face these teams somewhere along the line. We've got a great opportunity.
Oh,
It's up to the players now. You know what I mean? It doesn't come down to the managers. They pick their teams and whatever. Arsenal got a problem because we've got no, we're going to have to go. The big decision is, does he go with Eddie and Martinelli? And if he goes with Eddie, like, you know what I mean, then I'm going to be worried. But you're really relying on Martinelli as a 19-year-old to come in there and do the business. But I think it'd be a good thing that if he's given that opportunity. I've been banging on the drum that Martinelli plays, so all of a sudden it's going to happen. So I'm not going to complain about it. Let's get on with it. You know what I mean? I think you do well there.
Well, to be fair, they're saying that Aubameyang may be back for the Villarreal game. They think he'll probably miss the Everton game.
If he is, then it's a big decision who he plays, Aubameyang or Martinelli. For me, you'd probably go with the experience, but hopefully, I think that you can't bring. Can you bring Aubameyang straight in for that game? I think maybe he's got to be available for Everton. I don't know if he will or he won't be. We'll have to wait and see. I think Everton will be interesting to see who he lines up there. I think that the semi-final lineup will probably be virtually the same one that lines up on Wednesday. So if Eddie's up front, I'd expect Eddie to start on the Thursday. If it's Martinelli, I expect Martinelli to.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, Lee. I don't want to see Eddie starting a Europa League semi-final, man. I just don't think we can rely on him.
No, I don't either. I think that you got to go for Martinelli, surely, like Balogun and Eddie backing it up if Aubameyang's not fit.
Just quickly before we finish, so we wrap up. Mikel Arteta, you know what? He probably, everything that blew up over the weekend kind of covered up the fact we just drew at home to the team third bottom in the league, because no one's really spoken about it all week. If he doesn't win the Europa League and we are not in maybe Europe at all, or we could be in that ridiculous Conference League, do you think his job should be on the line in the summer?
100%. Listen, Spurs have just sacked their manager for being in 7th in the league.
Yeah.
And Spurs have come out and said, whether you agree with it or not, that's not good enough. That's not where we expected us to be.
Yeah.
So, we're 10th, 11th, languishing down the middle. Ultimately, I wouldn't go too much on Sunday's result because Thursday was more important. Listen, if we'd have lost Thursday and won Sunday, that don't mean nothing. We won Thursday. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you now. Like, if he doesn't get to this final, I think that Arsenal have got to be looking somewhere else. I really do, because it's not been good enough. But if he was to get to the final and circumstances we was unlucky to lose, maybe give him another go. But if he goes on and wins that final, he's 3 games away from winning 2 trophies
in 2 seasons.
So you'd have to say, hold on a minute, like, you know what I mean? But ultimately, if we were to go out to Villarreal, 100% his job should be on the line. Of course it should be. I don't think any other club, if that happened to Man United, Manchester City, Tottenham have proved that that's not good enough because they've got rid of Mourinho. And let's face it, they've got Mourinho which is going to cost them a lot more money than if we got rid of Arteta.
Yeah.
So, Chelsea, look at Chelsea. It was on the same position as us, and that wasn't good enough for Chelsea. So, at this minute, people have a little dig at me saying I'm a flip-flop and all that. Like, I don't understand that. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy to be a flip because I'm reactional over what results, and that's how it is. I'm a reactional fan. Results mean everything to me. If we play well, we win, I'm going to be happy. If we play well and lose, I'm not going to be happy. At this moment in time, I'm still firmly on the fence with Arteta. There are things that I like about him, I'm going to be honest, and there's things that I don't like about him. Ultimately, listen, if he plays Eddie in the game on Thursday night and Martinelli's on the bench and we lose, I'm going to lose it with him. Simple as that. He's got a big decision to make. I will give it Arteta the credit on this. The game on Thursday, he made some bold decisions and it works. He got a fantastic result. Fulham game is immaterial. Everton game's immaterial.
Doesn't mean that much.
That doesn't matter. The 2 games that matter for him now are Villarreal. Thursday. That's what matters, and that will determine whether Arteta stays or not. And that's what it should happen. It definitely should be judged on results. And, if he gets us to the Champions League, I've always said that. He's had two opportunities to get to the Champions League via the Europa League or the Premier League. He's failed on the Premier League, but he's still got a chance of the Europa League. Until that's gone, I don't think anybody should be saying, yeah, he should be going or he shouldn't be going or whatever. But ultimately, I've seen what he can do with like the results against Spurs and that performance. And then I've seen what he can do with performances after that, which are worrying. What worries me about Mikel Arteta is he can't get a consistent run of games going. Like, I don't think he's won 5 games on the spin. And that's what matters. Like, and league form is important. I get that, and we all want to be up there. But ultimately, it is getting into the Champions League. And listen, Unai Emery failed.
Yeah.
That's why he's not here. Like, he failed in the league and then he failed in the Europa League, and that, got and lost his job over it. So I don't see why it should be any different for any other manager.
Yeah. Do you know what? Maybe when they was all saying trust the process and they were calm when we were 15th, they thought, listen, don't panic. We're going into the Super League. We're getting 300 million. We don't really care what happens in the Premier League this year. So it would be interesting how the attitude of the owners changes, because if they continue at the football club, we're all going to be looking at them going, well, you better spend some money if you're backing this manager so much.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to clear up saying in the chat, before Christmas, what I mean, the results were shocking. And I feel that if Arsenal sacked the manager there and then, I had no problem with that, like, what I mean? Like, and I felt that he should have. I think listen. Let's get this right. Mikel Arteta, for whatever reason, is very, very fortunate to still be in a job at Arsenal. Let's get that 100%. Right. Like Tottenham have got rid of their manager a week before the cup final. I don't think Arsenal would have done that. Arsenal have said no. Like, we're still backing you because you still got the Europa League and whatever. Like, if I was in charge of Arsenal after a run of results when we couldn't win at home for all those games, I would have got somebody else in. I admit that, but ultimately they didn't. And then at Christmas they've said to like what the game against Chelsea. I think, if be honest, I say this now, I think if we'd have lost to Chelsea, I think we would have got sacked. I really do. I really do. Well, very much so, very much so. But at this moment in time, the league form, let's get this right. The league form, if you're going on league form only, Mikel Arteta does not deserve to be at Arsenal Football Club, whether you like him or whether you know, because it's a results-driven business.
Yeah.
But he has still got that Europa League at the moment. And I'm sorry that once, if he'd have gone out against Prague, I'm telling you this now, that would have been it for me.
Oh, same. The meltdown.
Well, that would have been it. You know what I mean? Because the football at home has not been good enough. You know what I mean? I think it's very. Listen, I'm saying it now that Mikel is very, very lucky. He's had no fans getting on his back at home games, which have been poor.
Yeah.
So, but ultimately, he's still got that. And let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Like,
let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, listen, I want Mikel Arteta staying at Arsenal because you know why I want him staying at Arsenal? Because that means we've won the Europa League and we're back into the Champions League.
100%. Listen, I've said that time and time again, Lee. I haven't been the biggest fan of him, but if he gets us in the Champions League and he won the Europa League, FA Cup last year, he deserves the job, and I'll be the first one to eat humble pie because we're Arsenal fans at the end of the day.
Exactly. And we want what's best. You know what I mean? Like, and I get, listen, when people turn around and say they want Mikel Arteta out and they don't want Mikel in I get it. I get why they don't want him in there and all that. Like, and I'm not going to argue with anybody on it. Like, and I'm not going to argue with people that want him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, this is not like it was with Arsene Wenger and that in and out scenario. This is a little bit different, but I've got no, what's the word? Loyalty to Mikel Arteta whatsoever. No. Whatsoever. If he's not successful, see you later. I hate Spurs, but what I do like about Spurs is their ruthlessness.
Mm.
I love that. You know what I mean? I want Arsenal to be ruthless, a little
Yeah.
bit more ruthless on things like that, you know? But ultimately, at the moment, if Arsenal are in a League Cup final and 10th in the league, that's not good enough because it doesn't get you where you want to go.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the Europa League gets you to where you want to go.
If you win it, yeah, 100%. Lee, just before we get out of here, I just want to share this picture for everyone. For those who don't know, of course, Kroenke out protest Friday, 6 p.m. at the Emirates. Obviously, anyone who can get there, get there. I think the best thing to do is do that hashtag Kroenke out on social media, because then it gets it trending. Everyone's talking about it. It's just about awareness, isn't it? I think that's the best thing.
Yeah, I think anything now you got to say like hashtag Kroenke out. Yeah, that's it. Like, you know what I mean? So that's a good idea.
That's it. So listen, listen, it can't be a one-off, because nothing's going to change, you know, in one protest. It's going to have to be a constant push if we're going to get this guy out.
100%. I think, like, you know, like the first game of the season, like, you know, everybody maybe walk out after how many ever years he's been here. I don't know how many years he's been here, but at that point, everybody walk out the stadium for a minute or something like that. You know, all things like that, all things can come up there, but proper, you know, and the trouble with Arsenal fans, and a little bit of there's a little bit of ego goes on. Oh, he's got a bigger following, bigger this and bigger that. What you've got to get is a group together with Arsenal fans on a around a table that have just got Arsenal interests at heart, nothing else, nothing more. You know what I mean? No social media, whatever. It's to do with this or you're that or whatever. You just want what's the best for Arsenal Football Club, and not worrying about ego. I think at the end of the day, there's too many egos. Oh, they've got this and they've got that, little bit of jealousy going on and all that. Ultimately, you want Arsenal fans on it that want what's best for Arsenal and only Arsenal. Not what's best for them and their channel and their this and their this and their that. Ultimately, what is best for Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah. Listen, couldn't have put it any better. He's done it again. He's done it again. Another brilliant appearance by Lee on the show. Listen, we're looking forward to your channel coming out. Hopefully, what do you reckon, this season or starting next season?
We're looking to get towards like going into the summer, transfer windows. Yeah. So like beginning of the season, doing a bit of the Euros to just get our feet into it and then really going for it next season. That's what we're looking to do, like.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm sure everyone will subscribe to that. Big up everyone for tuning in today. Nearly 2,000 of you in here. Make sure you smash the like, subscribe. Look out for Lee's channel when it comes out. I'll be back again tomorrow, 2 p.m. And then obviously we'll be building up to the game on Friday. Big up Lee for coming on. I'll see you at the Emirates, mate. We'll be, attacking the Emirates Stadium.
See you Friday.
Take care, mate.